Hi, my name is Lily with Safety in Schools. If you're not familiar with us, we're an organization that exposes child abuse in the troubled teen industry. In this video blog, we will be focusing on Stockholm Syndrome in relation to the programs. I'm going to start off with the groundbreaking Stanford Prison Experiment. The experiment began August of 1971 and was abandoned 6 days after it began. The study was put together to test the hypothesis that the inherent personality traits of prisoners and guards are the chief cause of abuse in prisons. Guards and prisoners were randomly chosen from volunteering college students. Some participants developed their roles as officers and enforced authority, ultimately subjecting some prisoners to psychological torture. Many prisoners passively accepted the abuse and, by the officer's request, actively harassed other prisoners. In boarding facilities for troubled youth, it is not uncommon for students that have been beaten down enough to comply to be given small rewards of authority over other students. What this does is create a situation much like the Stanford Prison Experiment. It is allowing a captive child who is accepting of the trauma bond the authority to beat down other students into compliance, which turns into a vicious cycle. Victims of Stockholm Syndrome are forcefully dependent on their captors and end up interpreting rare or small acts of kindness in the midst of horrible conditions as good treatment. Such as in boarding facilities, small acts of kindness can be seen as extra privileges, treats, prompt medical care, gifts, relaxed rule, and much more. As long as you accept the abuse by the hands of your captor and allow the trauma bond to form, they are more likely to give you small acts of kindness. Whenever an abuser does show acts of kindness towards a victim, it shows that there is hope for survival. That, combined with the fear of what could happen, sets a stage of wanting to please the captor and eventually positivity towards the captor as a way of coping with the situation. Stockholm Syndrome is not only marked by a positive bond between captive and captor, but also by a negative attitude towards authorities that threaten the captor-captive relationship. The attitude is even more powerful when the hostage is of no use to the captor, except as leverage against a third party, such as a boarding facility taking long-term payments from parents while abusing the children in the guise of therapy. Someone who is held captive as a child might make an unconscious decision to not fully see the abuse and to bond with the person providing food and shelter. As a child might respond by putting it out of their minds and acting like it's not happening, that it's too important to protect the trauma bond. Children often become hypervigilant to the needs and demands of their captor, making psychological links between the captor's needs and their own. Children are especially impressionable. The human brain doesn't stop developing until we're into our mid-20s. This allows a higher possibility of a trauma bond and ultimately Stockholm Syndrome. Added by the fact that the longer someone is held captive, the more likely they are to bond with their captors, and the average stay in a boarding facility is at least a year. The survival instinct is at the heart of Stockholm Syndrome, and fighting back may only cause the captor to become even more abusive, such as using food and sleep deprivation, isolating them even more, refusing medical help, or even sexual abuse. If you are in a situation where you are really empowered to say no, you generally will. But if they are your only source of support, you risk more abuse by angering them. Many children coming out of boarding facilities have trauma bonded with their abusers, leaving them with Stockholm Syndrome. The trauma bond can last for many years until they are willing to see the truth of the abuse in the situation and their captor. Some wake up from Stockholm Syndrome, while some never do. For more information, please visit us at safetyinschools.org and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you.